All right, this is a little bit of a longer video, personal share. Sit down for a moment, grab a cup of tea. It won't disappoint you, I promise. All right, a couple of things. One, we live in a spiritual battle. The more that I connect and sit with Jesus, learn from Jesus, he is showing me this spiritual battle. Here it is in a nutshell. It's a tug of war where basically you are either leaning in towards God, looking at God, focusing on God, bringing God in, sitting with God, letting God lead you, or you're being pulled into the external world. I want you to think about the seven deadly sins, which are basically pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. The seven deadly sins are basically how most of us behave in the world in some capacity. It's what creates the addictions. It's what tempts us, right? And so what happens is that there are infiltrated thoughts that come into our mind without us even realizing it, and we are tempted into these behaviors. And what this behavior does is it pulls us from God, it pulls us from aligning with God. Okay, so that's the spiritual battle in a nutshell. Every single one of us has infiltrated thoughts. Sorry, but we do. Every single one of us is pulled into temptation. Sorry, but we are. Single one of us, if we were to start receiving more and more money, it would be very difficult for us to stay aligned with God and not move towards wanting more money. If you started building an audience and you started getting thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of followers, it would be very difficult to stay aligned with God. You're going to say right now, no, it wouldn't, Lori. And I'm going to tell you, it is hard. We have to humble ourselves to how difficult it is right now to stay aligned with God in the midst of this spiritual battle. We are being tempted over and over all the time by all kinds of stuff to lean away from God. Okay, so here's my story with that foundation. Most of my life, I have had a self righteous anger for authority figures that lie, deceit, manipulate, and abuse people. And the last 10 to 15 years, this anger has gotten really loud when it comes to leaders in the health community, the self help community, and the spiritual community. I can't stand seeing deception. I can't stand seeing lies. I can't stand seeing people being one way in their real life, but then teaching a completely different thing. I can't stand people that are just putting out stuff so they can just continue to make money and it's not really real, or there's just so much. And this kind of anger that I was having was getting worse. It was boiling up inside of me and it wasn't healthy. It really wasn't. For me, it wasn't healthy. I'm sharing this story because you also may have an anger inside of you that, on one level, you could say is self righteous, like the self righteous anger, like Jesus flipping the tables. But on another lens, you could say it's also detrimental. It is one of the seven deadly sins. It doesn't feel good. It's taking over my life. Okay. So there is a balance between having a self righteous anger for something, standing up for evil, standing up for what is wrong, standing up for what's deceitful. There is a place for that, but there is a place also for understanding the spiritual battle and how this is going to shift for you. You know, how it will shift how you respond. Okay, when the Holy Spirit comes into my body more and more, this is a newfound thing the last year and a half, it changes things within me. It changes how I see the world. All right. And it's not something I do, it does it. It just slowly changes me from the inside out. I become more godlike without trying to do it. Now, here I am, Lori, with this anger inside of me for a very long time with regards to specific teachers that are lying, deceiving, and just being obnoxious, in my opinion, right? And last week, I had another one of these moments with Jesus where I went into a real dark internal cave. My identity was dissolving, my ego was dissolving, like everything was dissolving. I was like, maybe I'm just going to burn my whole account down and start over from zero. Maybe I'm going to go hide into a cave. All kinds of stuff was coming up, and it was very, very uncomfortable. I was like in a void with Jesus. Like, what is this? And he just kept saying, come, keep going, keep going, keep going. Right before this deep dive into this internal mess of beauty, I was feeling this deep, deep rage for specific teachers out there. Just like, why? Why do we have to be in deceit, right? Why do we have to be in manipulation? Why does this have to happen on the planet? And here I am in my inner cocooning of what WTF. I pop out and the next day I can feel Jesus inside of me. I can feel this Holy Spirit inside of me in a way that I never have before. I literally can hear him talking to me. And he says, I want you to go look at some of those people that were bothering you so much. So I did. And lo and behold, the anger was gone. Like I literally couldn't find it. I couldn't grab it. And what was replaced was the awareness that these people are infiltrated. It doesn't mean that I don't speak up about it. It doesn't mean that I don't still have the awareness that it's not okay. But my lens completely shifted to a compassion, a sadness, and an understanding, a humility. Because I too can be pulled. I too can do, not necessarily lie and deceive in that way, but I'm human too. And I had this compassion come over me, and I'm not trying to. I didn't want this. I didn't ask for it. It just arose as I sat with Jesus and went deep into whatever I was going deep into, whatever burned from me. This anger burned from me. Again, you don't ask for these things. It just happens with the Holy Spirit. This is what the Holy Spirit does. This is how powerful God is. This is how powerful Jesus is he moves us into deeper states of our godlike ways with God. And so here I am looking out at these people and I'm like, oh my God, it's gone. It's like gone. I don't think what they're doing is right, but that anger is gone. I even went and reached out to one of them and was like, I'm going to pray for you. I'm sorry for what you're going through. And I felt this. I would never do that. In the 40 years of my life, I would never reach out to somebody and pray for them because of what they're going through. When the Holy Spirit comes in, it changes you without you knowing, and it's mind blowing. So all of this to say that if you keep sitting with God, if you invite Jesus into your life, if you ask Jesus to bring the Holy Spirit in, this is not a bypass. This is not a crutch. This is how we shift back into our godlike ways. We get out of the way. We get out of the way and we let this come back in. We let it change us. It's magic what happens. I can't explain the things that the Holy Spirit has done. I can't explain it. And I didn't even want to do this video. Jesus is like, do this video. And I was like, I really don't want to do this video. Do this video. I really don't want to talk about this. Do this video. Okay, I'll do the video. So here I am, vulnerably saying that I had a lot of righteous anger for a lot of teachers out there that are on big platforms. I've seen the behind the scenes of some of them. I know their life behind the scenes. And that anger was literally destroying me. I go through a dark night of the soul with Jesus for 4 days. I pop out. Jesus is deeper inside of me. The Holy Spirit is deeper inside of me. And all of a sudden, that anger is gone. I didn't want it to be gone. It's gone. And what's in its place is a compassion, a humility, an understanding, and the ability to see the spiritual battle, that these infiltrated thoughts are going into all of these leaders without them knowing and pulling them away from truth, pulling them away from divinity, pulling them away from God through pride, lust, greed, gluttony, 7 deadly sins. And everyone is experiencing this. We are all in this spiritual battle. And the more that we can see that this is going on, we may respond and we may react a little bit differently. Maybe. Bring this holy light in. Sit with God, sit with Jesus. If it's changing me, it can change you. And I'm not making this up. It changes you.